Good day, everyone. My report is entitled Republic Act Number 544. So objective, to have a deeper understanding about Republic Act Number 544. So definition. So what is civil engineering? Civil engineering is a professional discipline that deals with the design, construction, and maintenance of the physical and naturally built environment. All humans benefit from civil engineering. You can take civil engineers every time you use an electrical device, turn on a tap, take public transportation, or drive on a road. Civil engineers are responsible for the buildings, structures, and major public works projects that make modern life possible. So, without the existence of civil engineering, society wouldn't function properly. There would be no treated water to drink, no safe buildings and structures, no transportation, infrastructure for traveling, and no drainage and irrigation channel. Next, what is law? The system of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its members, and which it may enforce by the imposition of penalties. Laws are rules made by the government that forbid certain actions and are enforced by the court. Law apply to everyone equally. Our laws also recognize and protect basic individual rights and freedoms such as liberty and equality. Imagine the chaos and the danger if there were no laws. Civil engineers are required by the law to present at any kind of construction, big and small. The main role of the civil engineer is to guarantee that the building and construction process is safe and conforms to the Philippine Code and regulations. Next, what is Republic Act Number 544? As amended by Republic Act 1582. Republic Act Number 544 is an act to regulate the practices of civil engineering. It was also introduced by Senator Panfilo Lacson. So what are the objectives of Republic Act Number 544? First is to define more clearly the practice of civil engineering in the Philippines. Next, to strengthen the profession in facing formidable challenges resulting from globalization and cross-border practice. So, Article 3, Examination and Registration. Section 8, Examination Requirement. Technical examination is required before CE becomes registered. So, in this section, all applicants for registration for the practice of civil engineering shall be required to pass a technical examination as hereinafter provided. Next, Section 9, Holding of Examination. The places of examination are the following: Manila, Baguio, Cagayan de Oro, Cebu, Davao, Iloilo, Lucena, Pagadian, Tuguegarao, and Zamboanga. In this section, examination of candidates desiring to practice civil engineering in the Philippines shall be given in the city of Manila of each year, provided that such days do not fall on official holidays. Otherwise, the examination shall be held on the next day, on the days next following. Next is Section 10, Subject of examination. Resolution number 2, Series of 1995, Mathematics, Surveying, and Transportation Engineering, 35%, Hydraulics and Geotechnical Engineering, 30%, Structural Engineering and Construction, 35%. So in Section 10, Subject of Examination, applicants for Certificate of Registration as Civil Engineer shall be examined in the discretion of the Board on the following subjects: mathematics, including algebra, plane and spherical trigonometry, analytics, descriptive and solid geometry, differential and integral calculus, and rational and applied mechanics, hydraulics, surveying, including highway and railroad surveying, plane, topographic, and hydrographic surveying, and advanced surveying, design and construction of highways and railroads, masonry, structures, wooden and reinforced concrete buildings, bridges, towers, walls, foundations, piers, ports, sanitary engineering works, water supply systems, dams, and irrigation and drainage canals. Next is the Section 11, Executive Officer of the Board, PRC. In Section 11, the Commissioner of Professional Regulation Commission shall be Executive Officer of the Board and shall conduct the examinations given by the said board. He shall designate any subordinate officer of the Professional Regulation Commission to act as the secretary and custodian of all records, including examination papers and minutes of the deliberation of the board. Next, Section 12, Qualification for Examination. Any person applying for admission to the civil engineering examination as herein provided shall, prior to the date of the examination, establish to the satisfaction of the board that he has the following qualifications. First, be at least 21 years old. Second, be a good citizen of the Philippines. Third, be a good reputation and moral character. Fourth, be a graduate of 4 or 5-year course in civil engineering from a school, institute, college, or university recognized by the government or the state where it is established. Next, Section 13, Oath of Civil Engineers. Only those who pass the exam shall take an oath. So in Section 13, all successful candidates in the examination shall be required to take a professional oath before the Board of Civil Engineers or other government officials authorized to administer oaths prior to entering upon the practice of the civil engineering profession. Next, Section 14, Seal and Use of Seal. All registered CE shall receive a seal with its own serial number. Plans and specifications supervised by the CE shall be stamped with the said seal. It shall be unlawful to use the seal after the certificate of the registrant named thereon has expired or has been revoked. So in this Section 14, Seal and Use of Seal, all registered civil engineers shall obtain a seal of such design as the board shall authorize and direct, provided, however, that the serial number of the certificate issued by the board shall be included in the design of the seal. Plans and specifications prepared by or under the direct supervision of a registered civil engineer shall be stamped with the said seal during the life of the registrant's certification, and it shall be unlawful for anyone to stamp or seal any documents with said seal after the certificate of registrant named thereon has expired or has been revoked, unless said certificate shall have been renewed or reissued. Section 15. Exemption from registration. First, registration shall not be required of the following persons: officers or enlisted men of the United States and Philippines Armed Forces, and civilian employees of government of the United States stationed in the Philippines while rendering civil engineering services for the United States and/or Philippines. Civil engineers or experts called in the Philippines government for consultation or specific designant construction or fixed structures as defined under this act, provided that their practice shall be limited to such work. Next, any person residing in the Philippines may make plans on specifications for any of the following. First, any building in chartered cities or in towns with building ordinances not exceeding the space requirement specified therein, requiring the services of a civil engineer. Next, any wooden building enlargement or alternation which is to be used for farm purposes only and costing not more than 10,000 pesos. Next, provided, however, that there shall be nothing in this act that will prevent any person from constructing his own residential house, utilizing the services of a person or persons required for the purpose, without the use of a civil engineer, as long as he does not violate local ordinances of the place where the building is to be constructed. Nor shall anything in this act prevent draftsmen, students, clerk, or work, superintendents, and other employees of those lawfully engaged in the practice of civil engineering, under the provisions of this act, from acting under the instruction and control or supervision of their employer. Nor shall anything in this act prevent any person who prior to the approval of this act have been lawfully engaged in the practice of maestro de obras to continue as such, provided they shall not undertake the making of plans, supervision of the following classes of work: A. Building of concrete, whether reinforced or not. B. Building of more than 2 stories. C. Building with frames of structural steel. D. Building of structures intended for public gathering or assemble, such as theaters, cinematographs, churches, or structures or like nature. Last, nor shall anything in this act prevent professional architects and engineers to practice their professions. Section 16. Refusal to issue certificate. So in this section, the Board of Civil Engineers shall not issue a certificate to any person convicted by a court of competent jurisdiction of any criminal offense involving moral turpitude, or to any guilty of immoral or dishonorable conduct, or to any person of unsound mind. In the event of a refusal to issue a certificate of any person, the board shall give to the applicant a written statement setting forth its reason for such action, which statement shall be incorporated in the records of the board. Next, Section 17, suspension and revocation of certificates. The board shall have the power after due notice and hearing to suspend or revoke the certificate of registration for any cause mentioned in the preceding section. Next, Section 18, reissue and replacement of certificates. In this section, the board may, after the expiration of 1 year from the date of certificate of registration, is revoked and for reasons it may deem sufficient, entertain an application for a new certificate of registration from the registrant concerned. Such application shall be accomplished in the same form prescribed for examination, but the board may in its discretion exempt the applicant from taking the requisite examination. Next, Section 19, transitory provisions. In this section, as soon as this act takes effect, any person desiring to practice the profession of civil engineering shall be required to obtain a certificate of registration in the manner and under the conditions hereinafter provided. All civil engineers duly licensed under the provisions of Act Number 2985 as amended at the time this act takes effect shall be automatically registered under the provision hereof. Certificates of registration held by such persons in good standing and shall have the same force and effect as through the same have been issued under the provisions of this act. All graduates in civil engineering from a school, institute, college, or university recognized by the government who have passed the civil service examination of senior civil engineer and have been practicing or employed in the government as such during 5 years and exempted from taking examination. That's all. Thank you.